So you want to break into cybersecurity in 2026. In particular, you want to become a SOC analyst in 2026. Yet, you don't really know exactly how to do it. In fact, you're contemplating getting into a 4-year degree or even one of these boot camps, yet at the same time, you're hearing all of these horror stories about people going through 4 years of education and coming out not being able to get a job, or even going through 2 years and tens of thousands, 50, 60 thousands of dollars of debt, only to come out and still not be qualified for one of these amazing 6-figure plus careers in cybersecurity, or more in particular, the SOC analyst starting role. Now, we're going to jump into an exact step-by-step process and plan on how you can take the next 6 to 12 months, not have to spend tens of thousands of dollars. In fact, this will cost you about $2,000, $2,500 or less in order to do this. And you're going to have hands-on applicable skills. You're going to be able to walk into any of the certification exams knowing exactly what to do, but take all of that knowledge and be able to apply it into a role and a technical interview. If this sounds great, welcome to Zero to Cybersecurity SOC Analyst 2026 style. Let's jump straight in. What is going down, guys? I am HackWithZach, aka Zach Marcy. I am a 6-year cybersecurity professional who has held pretty much every role that I wind up teaching inside of here. If I haven't held the role, I've at least done parts of the position and or helped somebody get into the role that we're coaching you through. This one in particular is a SOC analyst. This is where I started my entire career. I springboarded from being a SOC analyst into becoming all the way to being a security architect, which is an amazing job. But a lot of people that are getting into cybersecurity right now cannot go the same route that I went. SOC analysts are now required to have a very different skill set than when I first got in. But here's the cool thing. With the appropriate roadmap, you're going to have no problem doing it. In fact, you're going to get a 4-step process in this and also more detailed follow-up videos. But before we jump into that exact process, before you start getting started in your cybersecurity career as a SOC analyst, I need you to like and subscribe right down below for me. Once you've done that, you're going to get up to the moment notifications whenever I release the next step in this series. This series is going to completely boot camp you from zero to SOC analyst. And I'm going to provide a bunch of free resources and very low cost resources. As I alluded to in the beginning, this will cost you about $2,500. And that's really it. $2,500 to get into a 6-figure career, and it's only going to take you 6 to 12 months. There's not many careers out there that will do it, but you got to be a member of the website. You got to like and subscribe right down below, and also you got to make sure you hit that notification bell in the upper right-hand corner to know when you are going to get the next in this video series. Go ahead and do that, and let's jump right back in once you have. What you see on screen here is the Zero to SOC Analyst roadmap. This is the exact step-by-step process that we are going to follow that is updated, that most of your boot camps and most of your 4-year degrees are not covering. The preparedness that you will have in a full transparency, you could probably take, if you're putting full-time hours into this, maybe 3 to 4 months. But if you're a full-time employee and you only have about 2 to maybe 3 hours a night to work on this, it might take you about 12 months to do this. I need you to think that through for a second. I want you to take a look at this roadmap. Think through inside of your head. What is the time, the money, and the effort that it would take to get a $100,000 plus per year job in 12 months or less, and potentially within 3 to 5 years have a $200,000 a year job? what kind of education and energy and time and focus would it take to get that? You're talking doctor level salaries that we're seeing in the tech industry nowadays. It like literally, if you are sitting there and you're kind of moaning and groaning about the timeline, or that it's going to cost you anywhere between $2,000 to $2,500 in order to get that kind of career, your head is probably in the wrong place, and you need to check that first. The free versions of a lot of these tech stacks that you're going to be doing are not going to land you a job where they utilize things like Azure Cloud, Azure Sentinel, Wireshark, and even a lot of the requirements of making sure you have a Security Plus or the SC200. A lot of these areas, you're just not going to get into this for free, but this is the lowest cost I know with the up to the date, powerful education format and knowledge that it'll take for you to be a boss when it comes to being a SOC analyst or even a cybersecurity / cloud security analyst. So with that said, go ahead and click the link right down below this video. And that link should say 0 to SOC Analyst Roadmap. And follow along as I discuss through this. Now, the roadmap that you're downloading, it's going to be what we utilize for the next 4 videos. This video and the following 4 videos. We're going to break down each one of these quarters into their own videos with projects and outcomes. That way you can jump in, fill in the gaps, maybe just touch on the areas where you're a little weak or short, or maybe you want to zoom ahead and get ahead. But please do not skip any of the steps. Just take some time, take less time and energy on the areas where you feel like you already have it, but do ensure that you do the AI focus for every single one of these. All right. It's going to make more sense as we start going through, so let's jump in. So by the end of this, you will be able to be either an IAM analyst, a cloud security analyst, or a SOC analyst by the end of doing all of this. I have seen people take 3 to 4 months and be able to land an $80,000 to $100,000 a year job. And for the most part, although it says Q1 through Q4, you can do this in a shorter period of time, depending upon your skill level and where you're starting. So you know that where you're going to be at the end of all of this. Some things that you're going to have to own up to inside of this is tier 1 roles are gone. With that being said, here in Q1, we're not going to go into tier 1 roles. What we're going to do is we're going to give you an advanced clouds and provisioning education. Also, you're going to get your foundations in cybersecurity. So you're in your AZ900, which you're going to go into the Microsoft Learn platform. By the way, all these links are in there. Your Azure 900 Microsoft Learn platform, you're going to learn all of the cloud Azure models of how companies are going online. You're going to learn how to make sure that if your company's infrastructure, meaning if they have their own like data center and things like that, they are somehow getting into some kind of like cloud model, that you know how to interact those networking in the actual real world, physical world, with the Azure model or the cloud model. We're using Azure because they have a free tier, and they're also one of the platforms that almost everybody is using their Intra ID, formerly known as AD or Active Directory, to log into almost every single one of your websites. Almost every company is utilizing Outlook. Almost every company is utilizing some form of the Microsoft Office suite. And all of these things are in the cloud now, and they interact with your IAM provisioning, which is identity and access management, and Microsoft Intra ID, along with some of the other resources that your company is going to wind up using. We start with Azure for that very reason. Now, the Azure 900, it's depending upon where you're at, it should take you at short, probably about a week, maybe two, to go through all of that stuff. You're going to also get in there and do a core project of IAM and provisioning. You're also going to use AI to, when you intentionally goof and try to log into a intra ID utilizing either non-ideal credentials or from some other location than you normally have, what that's going to look like, and then how to take those logs inside of AI, analyze them, and what that looks like. Then once you have nailed your AZ900, again, it's going to cost you $99 to get that. Once you've nailed that, you're going to go into the ISC2CC. This is going to give you the foundations of networking, the way any kind of major business is going to utilize intranet or internet based services, what those protocols that are run on them, and then we'll start introducing you to all of the foundational cybersecurity concepts in how to log, identify, and secure a lot of these networks. So here, it's going to take you, let's say, probably 2 weeks to get through all of the material. You set up another 2 weeks, and then all of this is free. We have the links inside of the roadmap. Once you're done there, you then can study for about, let's say, 1 to 2 weeks. Nail your ISC2CC, and you then have 2 certifications under your belt with amazing ground foundation of networking, cloud computing, and cybersecurity. You could potentially go out and get a help desk role immediately. If you're not in security, if you're not in tech, you could probably, with these 2 certifications alone, go land one of those jobs. Jumping straight in, and I've seen some people take 1 week to get AZ900, 1 week to get ISC2CC. By the way, got to warn you that the ISC2 does require you to go in public or person to take this certification. That could probably slow you down just a little bit. So it might be 3 weeks. And you got the free Azure tier. All of the AI models you can get for free. You can utilize ChatGPT to do the anomalous detection. You could be out of this Q1 like on the short end in about 2 weeks. On the long end, it should take you the whole quarter or 3 months. Next, we're jumping into Q2. And Q2 is essentially your detection, your SIMs, and your attack behavior. You're going to learn how attacks actually look in the logs. And it's not just going to be theory. This is really where the rubber hits the road. You're also going to learn your first scripting. So I know it says Waza. I don't even know how to really pronounce it. We always called it Waza. And Wireshark. But you're also going to be able to take any of those SIM logs, which is what Waza is. You're going to be introduced to Kali Linux. You're going to be introduced to virtual machines. You're going to be introduced to Wireshark, which is a network analysis tool. And you're going to be able to take the rudimentary scripts that you can design out in AI, but just learning some of the most foundational coding principles with Python to go in and be able to do traffic analysis and SIM analysis with scripting, or be able to do some payload dropping and have some scripts run that can go up against the Wazoo, the Wireshark, and start doing some malicious stuff to see what that looks like inside of the logs and the alerts. The more time that you spend in this tier in Q2, sharpening your skills of log analysis, sharpening your capability of being able to design out payloads, really being able to take your AI and help write up your own types of alert summaries and attack and event summaries, the better off you're going to be. I would not speed through Q2. Your minimum time here you want to spend is probably 6 weeks. And you want to have some kind of demonstratable log, like summarization that you can put into a website along with your resume that shows your capability of being able to launch an attack, see what the attack looks like, and demonstrate that you have the capability of parsing and utilizing scripts to automate some of these processes, which is something a tier 1 analyst never did. This is something tier 2 and tier 3 analysts in SOC roles do. But you can learn this quickly because you're utilizing AI and the proper format and proper timelines in order to do it. I hope that makes sense. This is the main reason why we're not getting any certifications in Q2. You're really just focusing on being able to analyze SIMs, analyze traffic, and jump in and do the thing with Python. Q3. Q3 is where we start getting into some of the sexy stuff that you probably wanted to do all along. Now, Q3 is where you become a cloud SIM and SOAR operation person. You're going to learn enterprise cloud detection and response using Microsoft Sentinel. And you're also going to go into the free Microsoft Learn path for the SC200, and you're going to do the labs that are in there. Here's the cool thing. By the end of the SC2 Learn path, the SC200 Learn path, you will learn Microsoft's entire security suite of Sentinel. You're going to learn the Microsoft Defender. You're also going to set up and know how to write exact SOC style reports and logs and create detection rules inside of Sentinel, be able to trigger them. But then we're going to get a little dirty with the KQL language. Now, KQL it's called Custo Query Language, and it is what's used in the major SIMs, Security Incident and Event Management system. KQL is what is used to sort through and find logs. Ideally, it's a query language to find your incidents and how to visualize them in both Splunk, which is going to be a major SIM that you use. And if you wind up knowing KQL, not ever using Sentinel, but KQL, and you could just jump into Splunk pretty easy and enhance the very easy to use interface of Splunk by knowing KQL, you're going to be able to land a role with either Azure Sentinel or something that has a SIM that utilizes KQL like Security Onion or Splunk. Now, the SC200 is your SOC Analyst certification for Microsoft. In this, it's going to cost you $150 to take that certification. If you do all of your work inside of Azure in 30 days or less, you have a $200 voucher, and it's going to cost you next to nothing, probably nothing, as long as you get in there, really take the learning path serious, and put all of your energy into truly getting through how to do the KQL, what Sentinel what Defender logs look like, how you can sort through them, how you can set up roles in them, simulating some attacks, seeing what they look like, and really putting your energy into mastering these technologies that Azure offers. The SC200, then after the 30 days of putting in the core work and learning the tech stack, you should probably take anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks to just study the questions that are going to be on the SC200 certification list. And once you've passed that, you will potentially be able to go out and get a job as a cloud security analyst. If they only require you having the SC200 and all of the foundation of things like being able to do alert analysis, being able to look at a Wireshark output, being able to utilize AI to write up summaries. At this point, you literally could go out with that certification and potentially get an $80,000 to $100,000 a year job, as long as they don't require you to be Security Plus certified. A lot of places have that as a bare minimum requirement, but you can get away with just this Q3 information and certifications to land one of those roles that pays really, really well. Now, a lot of times people will hire you on contingency. So essentially you go and you get one of those roles, but what they want you to do is you're hired in contingent of within 90 days going and getting your Security Plus. Well, sure, I will take $80,000 a year job and bank on the fact that over the next 90 days, I'm going to wind up becoming Security Plus certified because I'm getting hands-on experience and I'm actually learning real time while getting paid to do so and potentially getting my Security Plus paid for, which, by the way, is exactly what happened with me. I wound up landing a SOC role after learning all of this, and I got paid for my Security Plus education and learned it real time. This is not unheard of, and it really depends on how deep and how really dedicated you are into putting in the work on this. Last but not least, we go into Q4, and this is where you're going to learn validation, automation awareness, and you're potentially you definitely need to make sure that you get your Security Plus. In here, you're going to be packaging your entire experience that you've put together so far into a portfolio that winds up showing that you know analysis, AI literacy, and you actually can put together everything that you have been studying by combining incident and IAM investigations, or your identity and access management investigations, which is going to be really crucial. It's the single most broken in point that almost all companies wind up getting exposed in. Second would be your SIM detections and SOAR automations. You're going to learn how to be able to use KQL and some of the automation languaging. And a lot of times, a lot of scripts run on either JSON or Python to automate incident response inside of some of these SOAR systems or SIM systems. You're also going to demonstrate in a landmark or milestone type of project, network analysis, tripping a bunch of different alerts and alarms utilizing your virtual box that we've already set up, and showing that you know exactly what each one of the major attack vectors look like, and also what cloud incident response looks like. This can be a little tricky, but it might require you setting up an inexpensive Azure instance that's connected to either Sentinel, or you just have a quick VM that you're going to attack. You're going to do it very low cost. You're just going to make sure you're not doing a bunch of DDoS attacks or things that is going to get into the millions of hits. of just, a couple of hundred hits on each type of security incident, and be able to, in a hybrid model or a cloud and potentially on-site model, show how to respond to a cloud incident response, have a cloud incident response. And by the end of all of this, you're probably going to wind up, best place is getting in to Professor Messer's course. He also has a discount exam voucher inside of his store. You have to get in and at minimum watch all of his videos from his course. He's hands down the best for either Network Plus or Security Plus. I am not high. I know a lot of people are high on getting the Network Plus. I'm not. I think you can get what you need through everything that you're doing with the AZ900 and the ISC2 on networking without having to go through Network Plus and spend another $600 on a certification that you probably don't need because you're not really trying to be a network engineer. What you're trying to be is a cybersecurity analyst or a SOC analyst. But you're going to have the capability of being able to be a cloud engineer if need be inside the Azure environment. So you might just be a couple of steps away from that. But most importantly, after you get your end-to-end case study, you're going to put up a GitHub repository showing everything that you've done. But you're also going to put together a capstone project that you show how you use AI to assist in all of the triage, write up the incident response, and being able to show exactly what you have learned over the last 4 steps inside of this whole process. I know this is a little bit more of a talking head video. For those of you that have gotten all the way through this, congratulations, because you're the people that are serious about making 2026 one where you land one of these amazing jobs. In fact, together, what we're going to do, you're not going to be vying for an outdated or completely gone SOC Tier 1 role. In fact, you're going to be positioned to be an expert at cloud security. You're going to be completely AI literate, which there is so many people that are losing their jobs, or they're having to really go back and educate themselves because they just aren't there. And you're going to be either a cloud security analyst, or a SOC analyst that understands identity, that understands detection, that understands scripting, which guys, with AI, it's so easy to develop Python scripts that actually automate a lot of the things that you're not able to do quickly by hand, but you do repeatedly with a script. And you're also going to be in a modern business enterprise level education by not trying to do everything free, but lower cost with the Azure environment. This step roadmap is going to be your magic bullet where you're just going to take a laser sight for your career, aim right at the target, do exactly what is bare minimum necessary to be great as a cybersecurity analyst or a SOC analyst in 2026. Go ahead, comment down below. Also, don't hesitate, jump directly into the next step in this series. We're actually going to get more hands-on. It's going to be a lot less of the talking head stuff, and it's going to be a lot more jumping in and getting into the playground and doing some stuff. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. HackWithZach, out.